When life begins, war does not end in a single day. Even when the fighting moves away, it stays in the air. It lives in people's cries, in empty houses, in the fear that remains even when everything becomes quiet. Eliza felt it before anyone else, not because of the news, not because of rumors. She felt it in her own body. After that night, Marcus left. He did not come back the next day or the next week. At first, Eliza told herself that everything was normal. He had warned her. Then she stopped waiting by the hour. She started waiting by the day, and after that, she simply waited. Every morning she opened the bakery. Every evening she closed it. No one asked about Marcus. It was as if he had never been there. But he had. Because inside her, a new life was already growing, and she could no longer ignore it. Her pregnancy did not arrive all at once. It grew quietly, like fear. First came the tiredness, then the weakness, then the strange feeling that her own body no longer belonged to her. She told no one. War was not a place where people could be weak. Still, one morning she could not stand up. She sat on the bakery floor, holding the table. For the first time she whispered, "It's true." That day, the town began to change. At first, no one understood why. Then they heard it, a deep sound, far away, but getting closer. People ran into the streets. Someone shouted, "Oh, air raid!" again, but this time it felt different. The explosions came quickly. The ground shook beneath their feet. The bakery windows rattled. Eliza stood inside with one hand on her stomach. For the first time, she understood. This was no longer just another day of war. This was the end of one world. The neighbors began to leave. Some ran toward the forest. Others hurried into cellars. The woman from the medical station came to see Eliza. "You have to leave." "I can't." "Why not?" Eliza looked down. Then she answered quietly, "I am not alone." The woman understood. She gently placed her hand on Eliza's shoulder. "Then you must be even more careful." By evening, everything became worse. Soldiers entered the town. There were no clear battle lines anymore. Only confusion, only fear. Smoke filled the streets. People hid behind locked doors. No one knew who would come next. Late that night, someone knocked on the bakery door. Hard. Very hard. Not like before. It was not a request. It was an order. "Open the door!" Eliza froze. The voice was unfamiliar, cold, harsh. Several men stood outside. They were not from her town. Before she could answer, they began to break the door. The wood cracked loudly. At that same moment, a sharp pain rushed through her body. A real pain, deep, powerful. She grabbed the edge of the table. Her breathing became fast. She knew it was time. Everything happened too quickly, too suddenly, too early, too dangerously. Eliza fell to her knees. The pain grew stronger. The world became smaller. There was only fear, only pain. Outside, the soldiers kept breaking the door. Inside, a new life was trying to begin. The door burst open. The soldiers rushed inside. They looked around. Then they saw her lying on the floor. At first, they did not understand. Then one of them spoke. "She's having a baby." The room became silent. For a single moment, no one moved. Then another soldier stepped forward, not with kindness, not with comfort. He spoke in a cold voice. "Take the baby." Eliza looked at him in shock. "What?" "The baby is needed. Alive." She could not understand his words. She only held her stomach tighter. She cried out in pain. Her voice disappeared beneath the sounds of war outside. She tried to stand, but she could not. The soldiers moved closer. Then, suddenly, another gunshot echoed outside, then another. The soldiers turned toward the door. Someone stepped inside. A tall figure, a long coat, a tired face. Marcos. He looked different. His clothes were torn. His face was covered with dirt. He looked older, as if he had lived through 100 battles. But he was alive. He saw Eliza. He stopped moving. Eliza. She wanted to answer, but she had no strength. Only tears filled her eyes. The soldiers raised their weapons. Step back. Marcus did not move. You will not touch her. He looked at each of them. And you will not touch my child. Silence filled the room again. No one breathed. No one blinked. Then everything happened at once. A loud shout, a gunshot, another. Someone knocked over the oil lamp. It crashed onto the floor. The room filled with shadows. Eliza could barely see. She only felt one thing. Someone was holding her hand. She knew that hand. Marcus. He never let go. Then, in the middle of fear, in the middle of war, a tiny cry filled the room, soft, weak, but alive. A baby girl had been born. For a moment, even the soldiers stopped moving. The world became silent. Eliza held her daughter close to her heart. She was so small, so warm, so alive. Marcus slowly walked closer. He looked at the baby, then at Eliza, his eyes filled with tears. "She's beautiful," he whispered. Eliza smiled for the first time in many months, not because the war was over, not because they were safe, but because her daughter was alive. Then one of the soldiers broke the silence. "The order still stands." The room became cold again. Marcus slowly lifted his head. His voice was calm, but his eyes were filled with fire. "Then come and try,"